Wait a minute. Unless Nolan Wells can be in two places at the same time, this new information just don't make no sense, and it cracks this case wide open. This is the place that Nolan Wells allegedly was unalived at, not the island. This is on land. I'm going to explain. Listen to this whole video because this new information gets crazy. Now, as we know, Nolan Wells missing after kicking it with his friends. Here are some of their names: Jax, Wyatt, Warren, Morgan. We're going to focus on Wyatt right now. Now, new witnesses are alleging that this is a pool party that was at Evan's house, one of his friends, Nolan's friends, after the 4th of July kick it when they were all on the island. And remember when all the guys were deleting their social media and scrubbing it or whatever? Guess where this picture comes from? Evan's Instagram page. This was posted after the island incident. And another thing that this confirms, if true, is remember that Nolan's dad said they searched the island and they didn't see anybody, and then a day or two later, a body came out of nowhere. This person is also saying this is why. They jumped Nolan, allegedly, according to this person, they jumped Nolan at this party. Wyatt and Nolan have been getting into it the whole day. Allegedly, they were drinking, and they were supposedly, the other guys were on some stuff, and they hit Nolan with a pole or something and jumped him, unalived him. So they saying after that, Nolan's body was stored in the boat, which is why, that would explain why they were cleaning the boat. An eyewitness saw them cleaning the boat at 3 a.m. in the morning at the judge's house, even though the boat owner lived somewhere else. And of course, that would also explain why there was no body when the dad went, Nolan's dad. But then on that Monday, the body showed up days later, which could have been somebody dropping the body off, and they were trying to make it look like something happened on the island to throw off what happened actually on land. And I don't like it. Allegedly, what if I told you? Wait a minute. And
they did it. I purposely waited to cover this breaking news until it was solidified. But Ben Crump took to his social media and verified this photo. And it did come from one of the assailants' Instagram before they scrubbed it. So technically, Nolan would have died January 5th because it would have been 1 a.m. in the morning back on land at Wyatt's house. See, ladies and gentlemen, they thought they were going to have a white boy summer and they was going to get away with murder. But we've been on the case. And what's utterly shocking about all of this is no search warrants have been issued yet. No arrest warrants have been issued yet. In fact, Nolan's family have not even seen the body yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to apply the pressure in this particular stream. And we're going to bring out more valid information until Mississippi folds. Now, y'all know how we do. We bring nothing but the truth. So as you enter the broadcast, make sure you get the likes up. Let's get to it.
They working against us. They hate our souls. They hate us. They hate our righteous indignation. They hate the exhortation that dwells in us. They hate our love for the They hate our conviction. They hate the fact that we repented. They hate the fact that we're truthful, honest, and bold. They hate our courage. Them devils hate us. We're not finna line ourselves up with these weirdos and freaks. With these weirdos and freaks. against us, they hate our souls. Weirdos and freaks. But these weirdos and freaks, they working against us, they hate our souls. Nubreed.
It's a holy convocation. They cross the line, we gon' see a demonstration. We so alive, we can see right through the matrix. Unshackled from the chains and the bondage. Smooth selling, fresh linen on these garments. Carried by mercy, spirit led till you call me up. Divine justice, my God, he is not a bluff. Survived the ambush, they plans was corrupt. Escape the clutch, hit the three-wheel motion. Swerving on them cowards till I get where I'm going. Running marathons, they waiting like some vultures. Defy destruction, been redeemed, this is not a dream. They plotting scheme, mark they self with a red beam. Slouched over devil, got them on some puppet strings. Reign supreme, they can never break my self-esteem. Survived the war, thank God heaven intervened. He intervened. Lord, I hear you now, I hear you now, I hear you now. Cause you spoke so loud. Lord, I fear you now, I fear you now, I fear you now, I fear you now, cause you spoke so loud. I thank you, Lord, for the warnings you given me. I gave them second chances, but it won't be a trilogy. I'm walking in my peace and protecting my energy. Corruption in their soul, and it isn't no remedy, no remedy. For there's no remedy against the proud man's plague. For the plan of wickedness have taken root in him. Ecclesiasticus 3:28. It wasn't gentle correction, it was prophetic conviction. Had to get on the right path and make some restrictions. I'm just thankful I'm living and you created division. I'm finding joy after morning, grace is rewriting my story. You gave me quiet revelations, I'll be inciting your glory. You took them people about my life that wasn't good for me. I hear you now, so I'm moving with passion. Rebuke the witches, warlocks, and them demon assassins. Now the tabernacle bell rings whenever we passing. They so flabbergasted, wanted me in the casket. But the light is descending and the fear is dissolved. Lord, your power is awesome. Speaking truth, we're becoming the problem. But they really can't solve it. Take heed, you shall hearken, or keep living in darkness. Lord, I hear you now, I hear you now, I hear you now, I hear you now. Cause you spoke so loud. I feel you now, I feel you now, I feel you now, I feel you now. Cause you spoke so loud. You spoke so loud. You spoke so loud. You spoke so loud. You spoke so loud.
Welcome back. Welcome back. I see you brothers and sisters rolling in the chat. Peace and blessings to everybody. If you appreciate that song right there and that music video, go over there and subscribe to Nubreed Universal ENT. Of course, pretty soon, the album is going to be coming out. Lots of powerful music on the way. All right. Now, listen, the silver lining in that song is you just can't trust everybody. You got to be on point. Your discernment got to be top notch these days. And when you really listen, the Most High be speaking, and he speaks loudly. And I hate to say this, but some of the cases that we've seen lately on the news, such as the Nolan Wells case, I know that there were telltale signs. You got to look at the microaggressions coming from people. You got to look at the body language. You got to pay attention to the slick comments. You got to know when somebody is in secret competition with you. You got to know when somebody is jealous. You got to know when somebody is a plant set up by Satan. And when you know, you got to cut those people off immediately. Time is dire in these last days. You got to get rid of them and get rid of them quickly. Now, we're going to talk about how important that is because, ladies and gentlemen, they took out Nolan. They did it in the most barbaric fashion ever. And when that post was made, a couple people in that profile snitched. And there's going to be need of some cyber forensics to crack the case completely. However, the things they said happened to Nolan. They said that they beat him to death with a lead pipe and they urinated on him. They said that there was people watching, recording, saying, "Get him, get him." These people turned into animals that night. And the mask truly slipped off. And this has happened in many different situations. Of course, we had Shanquella Robinson from North Carolina that went on a vacation, a trip with her so-called friends. And they beat her to death in a similar fashion. And it was caught on camera. And they all laughed and cracked up like jackals. They all gained pleasure seeing somebody being tormented and tortured. So when we talk about drawing the lines and not trusting everyone around you, it's a matter of life and death. You're living in a very dark time. And there's a lot of evil people out there that want to see people of the light destroyed. They are mingled with Satan's seed. They are not humans. Everybody among us are not human beings, ladies and gentlemen. And it's always the person who bears the light who's the target of these devils. Nolan was known to bring positivity around. People took to Nolan well. Among all accords and accounts of Nolan, he was one that bared light. He didn't judge people by their skin color. He had charisma. He had talents. But anytime you are a chosen one, anytime you are of the light, just know that there's a threat. Just know that people are going to target you. People are going to be jealous. People are going to try to destiny swap like Cain did Abel. Instead of seeking the light, they rather extinguish it from you. And the reason why they rather do that is because they're not willing to make the sacrifice it takes to please the Most High. And they believe if they can take you out, somehow they can take your place. So they hunt for the precious soul. The Wisdom of Solomon talks about how they lie in wait for the righteous and say, let us destroy him because he's not of our turn. That's what happened to Nolan. This is an epic battle between Jacob and Esau, or Esau and Jacob. People don't want to put race to it, but let's be very real. This battle has been going on since the dawn of time, when Esau sold his birthright. God himself says he hates Esau, and Esau will be the end of the world, and Jacob will be the world that follows. And right now, it is evident that this war has reached its helm. And now we seek justice. We seek justice for Nolan. We seek justice for his family. And I'm going to tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I've been on this case since the beginning, and it's been hard for me to let up off of this case because it quantifies what is going on in our society. It highlights the evil that is hidden, how savage a lot of these people are that are walking among us, and how they operate in the shadows. And it's been a heavy feeling in this country for months now. It's been a shift that a lot of us couldn't quite explain. And what it really boils down to is the evil that's going on behind closed doors, the sacrifices, the rituals, the Masonic initiations, the corruption, the collusion. And it's a daunting feeling. And when you have the insight, the Bible tells you to much as knowledge cause much grief. But every now and then, something takes place where we can scratch the surface and these brute beasts are revealed. And when they get revealed, you have to make sure that everybody knows. Now, everybody involved with Nolan's death needs to be arrested, including Ocean Spring, Mississippi Police Department, the judge over the case or over the investigation, the family of the so-called friends of Nolan Wells, the judge and lawyer of one of the so-called friends, his parents, they all need to be arrested immediately. And
Let's Nolan Wells.
We need justice. Now, we're going to go through what has transpired, ladies and gentlemen. And we already know that Nolan did not just mysteriously disappear and wind up dead. We now have some context to what has happened. And they've been showing their guilt. I want you to hear what the judge had to say. And when I say the judge, I'm talking about one of the friends, so-called friends, we putting that in quotations, his mother, Ashley Nicole, she made a second statement. And I want you to hear the statement she made and how bad her statement crossed the line. And then we're going to get into more evidence.
As a former prosecutor, I'm shocked a sitting judge would do this. Judge Ashley Cole, the mom of one of the men who was with Nolan Wells before he was found dead, got on Facebook claiming she wanted to dispel rumors with facts, and then laid out this whole timeline of what she says are facts of what went down that day, even though she wasn't there. And this is still an active death investigation. A judge commenting could influence or intimidate witnesses before they've even spoken to investigators. That is exactly what you don't want in an active investigation. It's the reason judges are held to a different ethical standard. This is not how homicide cases go. Law enforcement investigates. Detectives interview witnesses. Prosecutors evaluate the evidence. Judges don't even get involved until legal issues are brought into the court. When you're a sitting judge, you're not just another parent on Facebook. This is exactly the type of situation the Mississippi Code of Judicial Conduct is designed to prevent. Judges are expected to uphold public confidence in the judiciary, remain impartial, and avoid not just acting improperly, but even appearing to act improperly. She literally said she was going to dispel rumors with facts, and then publicly filled in the very facts investigators are trying to figure out. None of this is okay. What do you think about her comments?
Absolutely. Not only that, not only the judge, a standing judge who needs to be barred immediately, not only does she break the law, But the detective needs to be investigated, as well as the media surrounding the case need to be investigated for putting out a narrative that there was no foul play before an actual official autopsy was released. It's so much corruption. It's so many illegal practices going on in this situation that it is mind-boggling. Almost like we're in a twilight zone. In fact, arrest should have been made when the video came out showing that somebody took Nolan's phone and he was asking for his phone back. That's when arrest should have been made. When Nolan's family had to use Life 360 application to locate the phone, there should have been a search warrant at the very least issued. So what we have is a Freemasonic cover-up. I believe the Masons are involved in it. They are probably more than likely a part of the Klan. And we're not going to take this cover up because everyone's getting involved now. And I'm going to tell you, they are defecating in their britches right now because they never thought this would go that far. These people are used to doing these cover-ups. They got away with this with Malcolm Jamal Warner. If y'all can remember when Malcolm Jamal Warner passed, it was extremely mysterious as well, but we didn't stay on it the way we should have. I'm just going to keep it 1,000. The Nolan Wells situation hits different because it happened in a height of racial tension in the country. So people are not going to let it go. People are going to continue to demand answers. And with this particular case, you got high profile people involved, such as Al Sharpton and Ben Crump. You got celebrities involved. You got Colin Kaepernick that took it upon himself to pay for the second autopsy. You got Tyler Perry paying for the funeral. So this is not going anywhere until justice is served. And if we know what happened now, we know they did it. We have enough proof. And if there's no arrest made, it's going to get real. I'm going to tell you, just like that, it's going to get real in Mississippi and it's going to hit the fan. Now, peep this.
I know better than this shit. I know I just didn't hear that Nolan made it off the island and made it to a pool party, and that Wyatt and him got into an altercation where he was spitting up blood at the pool party. Now, I'm sharing this because I see other folks are sharing this, but not only others, but Ben Crump also shared it, which is Nolan's family's lawyer. Yo, it is alleged that Nolan made it off the island. It is alleged that Nolan made it off the island to a pool party, got into an altercation with one of his friends, Wyatt, about his phone. And they held him hostage at the pool party. He was allegedly, he was spitting up blood. A bunch of them beat him up. Oh, y'all, I'll be back. This shit, wouldn't it make sense? Wouldn't that be the reason? So these mugs killed at the house, brought his body back, and that's why his father couldn't find his body the entire time he was searching Horn Island, because his body wasn't there until, so they've been playing in our face all this time. Oh, I know.
Yep. And this is the reason why the family was spotted by an eyewitness, them washing out the boat 3 a.m. Could have been perhaps they transported the body to the island the next day and the police actually did find the body on the island. That could be the case. That could very well be the case. That makes sense. So perhaps the police was not lying about where they found the body, but they should have been able to immediately identify whether or not Nolan was murdered or not. So this is the reason they need to be put under investigation. Now, not only that, the person who did the initial autopsy report, she needs to be arrested and put under investigation. And I see Sci-Fi Fan, he says, Arrests aren't enough, Nubreed. Convictions is what we are looking for. Absolutely. But in order to get convictions, we're going to need them to be arrested first. And we're going to need those search warrants, one step at a time. And you got some devils out here upset that Nolan Wells' family is raising a substantial amount of funds. But in order to get justice and go against a satanic cabal, a Masonic cabal, the Klan, white nationalist, going against a media machine, you're going to need funds just to get basic civil rights, just to get basic transparency. You're going to need those funds. Now, since they are gathering the funds, there's no reason why they can't continue to push for justice. And there's no reason why justice can't come to fruition. So shout out to the people who supported the Nolan Wells family, and shout out to all the creators and journalists that put out the information to draw awareness towards it. Because it takes a whole lot of money. It takes a lot of resources just to get basic information when there's a lot of corruption involved. Money talk, BS walks. That's just what it is.
Let's talk about how Nolan and them family rolled up over there at the judge house where Warren them was and politely went over there and got Nolan keys in his phone. Oh yeah, they didn't know the phone had a tracker on it. Because what they thought they was finna do is get rid of everything they can get rid of in that phone and get rid of that phone. But newsflash, it was a tracker on it and mama was on it. Yes, Lord. Let's talk about how the sheriff gonna try to say there's no foul play before the autopsy even came out, thinking it was finna be an open and shut case. Baby Colin, Ben Crump, and Al Sharpton politely got Nolan body up out of there and shipped it to Washington, D.C. so they can do an independent autopsy. Hello. I wonder who the girl was that they called to get the confirmation on where Nolan Keys was. Could it have been Katie? That they don't know. Have you ever seen somebody deactivate their social media page for the safety of their children, but continuously activate that motherfucker back so they can make statements saying that they're being threatened? Let's talk about the statements that the judge keep making online, but she ain't made one statement telling nobody how they brought that boat over to her house and it was cleaned that same night. Let's talk about his friends, Nolan friends that he went out to the island with, how they were so much his friends for years, but they haven't so much as sent condolences or nothing to the family at all, the mothers either. And y'all can quit concerning yourself about their GoFundMe money. His coach donated over $200,000 to go towards his legal fees and also his investigation into the causing of his death. Tyler Perry is paying for his funeral and Colin paid for his independent autopsy. His mother said on Good Morning America that Nolan was known for bringing people together, and she ain't lie. His daddy also said on Good Morning America that Nolan just wanted to make it and be successful and take care of his family. Guess what Nolan doing? Bringing everybody together and taking care of his family, even in the afterlife. Nolan Wells. Don't forget his name, because this is going to be something to remember. And all the people that did the evilness against this good boy, guess what? Was done in the dark finna be brought to the light in front of the whole world.
Yes, it is turning into a media firestorm right now. And I'm going to tell you this right now. They thought they was going to have a white boy summer, but right now they're not sleeping too well. Judgment is about to come a knocking. And Hebrew Care shared something interesting, says, and the National Coast Guard is in on it too. He claims he forgot to search for Nolan on July 11th. Interesting. I got to dig and look at that. I'm telling you, it is corruption on an unprecedented level. And I'm almost anticipating havoc to break out in Mississippi, because Mississippi is one of them states, they almost don't care how much is brung out. They're very stubborn. Let me tell you, she meant July 4th. Okay, July 4th. That's right. I understand what you're saying now. You saying that the Coast Guard said he searched July 4th, but that would have been inaccurate if Nolan would have been back on land and that pool party was going on 1 a.m. where that post was made. That means it would have been July 5th. It would have been July 5th. Not even that morning. It would have been July 5th that night. Yep. The Coast Guard said they found that body July 4th at 11 p.m. Lies. That's more lies, y'all. So we're seeing a crazy cover up right now. And the thing is, we've already hit. We caught on to everything. It's too much funding going towards this. It's too much attention going towards it. Something got to give, because they did it. I'm not even saying allegedly. They murdered Nolan Wells. And when I say they, I mean all of them did it. All of them were complicit. And then you had Nolan Wells' alleged best friend used as a cog in the web. They had brung him on TMZ to filibuster and distract. And that goes to show, just because somebody say they your best friend and commemorate you, don't mean they was really your best friend. Because honestly, when he showed up on TMZ, he did more damage than good. And I believe everything he said was out of fear. I believe it was out of fear. Fear of the white supremacists that he got to live around. But we'll talk about that. Because they like to bring chaos and confusion in when we getting close to cracking the case. And they be paying people off and everything.
Now there's an alleged photo of Nolan at a land pool party 1 a.m. in the morning on July 5th, allegedly. And if there's any truth to this, then it contradicts the story that was given to the Old Bay Cajun Navy.
I was told that there was a boat he thought he was going to get on that was leaving and that he might have been trying to swim to it.
The person who gave the United Cajun Gumbo Navy this story should have been investigated. Because that means if you might have seen him swim to the boat, did you see the current take him away? Man, I don't trust nobody in this photo. This boy looked like he's being hugged without consent, like he's about to be initiated into a prostate cult. And Chuck Norris with the hairy chest looked like he's too old to be at that party, like the resident registered offender. There's so much foolishness going on with this case. The Coast Guard corrected themselves from the last statement they put out per email saying Petty Officer Cheyenne told Mississippi Television they didn't know about Nolan's disappearance until 12:26 p.m. July 5th. And they came back with, oh, we did get a phone call at 11 p.m. from one of his friends on July 4th. Y'all got one job, guard the coast. You can't even guard your email, phone, or recollection memory. And due to all the backlash the sheriff received, now he's calling it an ongoing investigation, which wasn't his original statement at first.
Facing a firestorm of criticism, Sheriff John Ledbetter is speaking out.
Now, Sheriff talks about looking into the claims that Judge Ashley Cole made about Nolan staying behind.
I believe I'm aware that she said that, or she may have made that in a written statement, but... As far as our findings of that, that's still part of our ongoing investigation.
Now there's an alleged photo of Nolan at a land pool party 1 a.m. in the morning on July 5th, allegedly. And if there's any truth to this, then it contradicts the story that was given to the Old Bay Cajun Navy.
I was told that there was a boat he thought he was going to get on that was leaving.
They are liars. So many lies, so much guilt. They shaking at the core right now. This is absolutely disgraceful. Ocean Spring, Mississippi is going to turn into a damn war zone if they don't cut out the nonsense. Yeah, he looks terrified. Look at him. He looked petrified. Shook. There's a lot of different powers operating in this situation. This is a very much spiritual situation as well. Remember them scriptures say we battle not against flesh and blood, but wickedness and principalities in high places. Make no mistake about it. There's some demonic impositions in this whole situation. That's why I'm putting a lot of support towards the Wells family, because I know what they're going against. They're going against a hornet's nest. They're shaking the hornet's nest up right now. And they're afraid. These little prejudiced redneck hicks going to have to answer for all of this.
I'm calling on the Jackson County District Attorney to be investigating. The district attorney has its own investigative staff, or should have.
And this is a retired Mississippi municipal judge, Carlos Moore. He's calling out Jackson Sheriff Office, the district attorney's office, and the Ocean Spring Police Department to do their jobs on the Nolan Wells case. Since we got Ashley Nicole making statements, breaking her oath, you know, doing the most, we got a judge too from Mississippi that's talking. Let's go.
They should be investigating. The district attorney does not have to wait on Jackson County Sheriff's Department or the Ocean Springs Police Department. It can do its concurrent investigation, and it could present the matter to a grand jury at any time once it feels it has determined or gathered enough information. 3 different law enforcement agencies is what I'm calling on to do their jobs. If the young lady that has gone on Facebook's allegations are correct, there should be arrests this week for assault. She has recounted that she witnessed an assault, and she was very specific in naming the 3 individuals who did the assault on Nolan Wells. And she also told who videoed the assault, and she told what that individual videoing was saying while the assault was going on. She's also named an adult that allegedly had all the young people to get out of the pool and leave her home in the early morning hours of July the 5th. So that adult needs to be questioned. Every person that's identified in that pool should be questioned. It's not rocket science, but there are allegations of assault, and there's allegations of a witness, and those allegations need to be further developed and investigated. There's also allegation that everyone left that home. Most of the young people left the home. They did not live there except Nolan Wells, and when she left, he was leaning over the pool and blood was coming from his mouth. So that is a very specific allegation that deserves to be looked into. So I'm asking and really demanding that the Ocean Springs Police Department does its job and start a concurrent investigation. Justice can no longer wait. Justice has been delayed long enough. I am straight out of patience at this point. Straight out of patience. Various crimes have been alleged. And at this point, there needs to be some arrest this week for the crimes that's been alleged and sufficiently alleged. Police does not have to have a affidavit from the people that are making the allegations. They have to be interviewed by the police, and the police can sign an affidavit and take it to a judge and get the warrant for arrest. We are asking law enforcement to simply do their jobs. Get the arrest warrants for those crimes that you know that there's probable cause that a crime has been committed already. There's been sufficient time for the autopsies to be done. The information I've heard is correct, and we should learn the results of those autopsy reports. I would expect this week that there should be a lot of movement in this case. Once the autopsy reports are revealed, I believe that should lead us where we go from here. I'm calling.
Yes, I mean, this judge, Judge Carlos Moore, is absolutely on point. You know, the only reason the autopsy report has not come through yet, unfortunately, there was some flight delays. You know, they had his body shipped from Mississippi to Washington, D.C., and due to flight delays, you know, we expected them to be released today. However, I think we can give it a day. I'm expecting it to be tomorrow or Wednesday where we're going to be getting the autopsy results. And from what I just read from Hebrew Care, she says that Judge Ashley Nicole, the family, I believe that's the family of Wyatt, has Confederate flags outside of their home and racist paraphernalia located outside their home. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Even the McCaff family in the whole Carmelo Anthony situation, there's a lot coming out now, you know? There's a lot coming out now about those boys having a whole lot of racist paraphernalia and things of that nature. So, you know, I'm glad that it's coming out now that some of these families are tied in with suspected white supremacy. You know, I'm glad it's coming out there. For real.
So it turns out this picture, which was taken on July 5th, if it is true, allegedly.
We can't do that. That's copywritten. He's using Miles Davis's song.
I knew y'all killed that boy. And I knew y'all killed that boy. Not only did I know y'all killed that boy, I knew the parents had something to do with it, because the day after, when y'all found out that this boy's body was brushed up against the shore in the Mississippi River, instead of making a heartfelt statement about this young man who was obviously not just some random black kid from the hood who popped up at your house on the 4th of July weekend, he was a member of the community that y'all knew. Y'all lawyered up and scrubbed y'all kids' social media the next day. You lied and said you didn't have his phone. The mama tracked the phone down. Y'all had the phone in y'all house. Y'all said that that boy did not make it on the boat. What the fuck is this? Mm-hmm. And can we talk about how awkward this picture looks? Who is this grown-ass man looking like a WWE SmackDown fighter in the pool with these kids? And why does no...
Right. He definitely looked like a predator. Like, who is this guy in the pool? And why he look like an 80s corn star in there with a bunch of damn teenagers? Like, who is this? That weirdo right there in the middle by the play button. He need to be investigated. He looked like a pervert. Like, why is he even there? He looked like one of the parents. Like, what is going on here? He looked like an 80s drug dealer. Like, he the one who gave everybody they blow that night and just stuck around and said, yeah, I want to get in the pool too. Yeah, I want to thank y'all for the super chats. Kid Diff, I think that's how you pronounce your name. Appreciate the support. He says, thanks for the best journalist work on YouTube. I appreciate that, bro. And I also seen another super chat. Shout out to Whisk, says respect. Thank you. And I appreciate y'all supporting the work. But man, it's just weird. Like, who invited him?
Nolan looks so worried. Now, the kids...
And Nolan does look worried, even in this picture. Like, I don't know, man. You know, I know that what I've noticed being around other nations, other ethnicities, is they don't really understand space boundaries like we do. We don't like nobody all up in our personal space like that. You know what I'm saying? We just don't like that type of stuff. So he looks uncomfortable. You know what I mean? This looked like a scene from Get Out, to be honest with you. But let's continue.
That go to school, and you know, the other kids in the community are saying, oh, well, they beat him up at the party. Y'all said that he didn't want to get on the boat because he wanted to be with his girlfriend. They tracked the girl down. She said he got on the boat with y'all. So you mean to tell me that y'all beat him up allegedly with a metal blunt object, killed him at y'all house, drove his lifeless body to the boat, and dumped him in the water, and y'all ain't nothing but 18?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of volatile evil has to be at the pits of your stomach and soul to make you want to do something like that to somebody at that age? And to the parents, one of the mothers of the boy, I believe it's his stepmom, she's a judge in Mississippi. She should be immediately removed from the bench.
Exactly. And to answer that question, it's evil in their DNA. You know, to answer the question, you know, they're deeply rooted with the serpent seed. You know, they are maniacal beings. And sometimes I sit up there and question whether or not these people are human or not. And the truth of the matter is, this right here is light work. It's light work. And what I mean by that is, yes, it's absolutely diabolical to us on the outside looking in. It's very much cringeworthy. However, a lot of the politicians you see in office, this is what they did back in the day. They're hot boy summers. This is what they did. You know, some of these 70, 80, 90-year-old politicians, what you think they were doing back in Jim Crow? What you think they were doing back near to the times of civil rights? They were wearing masks. They were in the woods conducting initiation rituals. They were kidnapping our people. They were doing everything in their power as foot soldiers to make sure that they can push intimidation when it comes to voting. They did everything in their power to disenfranchise us after slavery. You know, we're talking about the individuals who were responsible for redlining, and not to mention, ladies and gentlemen, there was thousands of lynchings in America without any trial, without any jury, no case numbers. No, these people have been taking out vigilante justice, if that's what you want to call it. They've been vigilance. They've been doing these things in the woods and in their homes. Let's not forget about, what was her name? Erica Hatsford, the woman who came to the sleepover. I think I'm pronouncing her name right. That lady that went to a sleepover with all her white friends, and she mysteriously died at the sleepover. She was the only black spot there. And they said she was out here smoking a cigarette. They don't know what happened. These people been doing this. When they get you alone, this what type of time they on. I've been talking about this for a while. You don't want to go to dinner with them, you liable to wake up in a wine cellar. People thought I was making jokes and being facetious when I said that. No, down south, you better watch out for these so-called Christian nationalists. They'll have a whole cross around their neck, invite you to dinner. Next thing you know, you waking up somewhere after being sedated, and they're going to do whatever they want to do with you. And because they plugged in with law enforcement, because they're Masons, because they're plugged in and connected with different lawyers and judges and even medical teams, they get to exercise their darkest, deepest, twisted fantasies on Black people, because they look at it like nobody's going to care anyway. And they can make a few phone calls and get away with it. This is how they operate. Hebrew Care, thank you for the support. The book of Habakkuk. Woe to him who builds a city with bloodshed and establish a town by injustice. Absolutely. Woe to them. They're going to be destroyed for all of this evil they're doing. They built their cities in blood and iniquity, and that's what's going to fall upon their heads.
Because she's a lying fucking cunt. The way the adults in this situation are covering up for these kids, the way that they are lawyering up, they don't even give a damn enough about the family. I believe that was his parents' only child. I believe he was his parents' only child. My attitude is, y'all still don't remember what happened to Nolan? Let's tie some cinder blocks around each one of them boys' ankles and dingle them over top of the Mississippi River and see how long it takes them to remember what happened to that boy. I'm gonna tell you something. It wouldn't have been me and my child. It wouldn't have been me. I don't have no kids, but I got 2 nieces. One of them is around the same age as Nolan. Let me tell you something. Some shit like that happened with one of my nieces. You ain't got to worry about my sister. You don't have to worry about me, because it ain't gonna be nobody involved in the situation that witnessed that bullshit. That's gonna be not a soul. Ain't gonna be none of that. Because history keeps repeating itself time and time again. That was a modern day lynching. And you know what? It is a topic of conversation in the community which I live, amongst the Black people here in the community which I live. And I noticed that the white passerbyers seem to get a little irritated when we're talking about it. When we're talking about saying, hey, maybe we don't need to have our kids hanging out with some of these types of kids. Some of these type of kids. Some of these white kids that we don't know so well. Maybe we just need to pull back in. I notice how irritated you get.
Yeah, they get irritated because how they going to pull off their blood sacrifices? You know, how they going to be extra weird with their children's house guests if you're not bringing them around. So they don't like that. And the truth of the matter is, you know, in the last days, the scriptures say that we're going to gravitate towards our tribes. And, you know, our tribes just mean people who are like-minded, because there's going to be Gentiles that's going to sojourn with us as well. Because listen, there's Gentiles that I talk to all the time. They don't feel safe around these Idumean Vikings. They don't feel safe around these damn vampires. You would be surprised how many Caucasian people don't want nothing to do with their family because they know all the secrets. It's people who give me long-spirited emails, and they tell me how they are. And Hebrew Care, I've heard about that movie. Somebody else told me to check that out. It's called A Spoon of Chocolate. I'm going to watch that. It's how they be setting up melanated people and doing whatever they doing. I don't know if they organ harvesting. I don't know what they doing, but they got a whole, listen, they have a whole system in which they traffic our people and organ harvest and do all these things. I'm going to check that movie out and do a review on it. Somebody asked, can I blow the pic up? Unfortunately, I can't because I'm just reacting off Instagram. But we can get a hold of this pic a little bit later, and I can show you the full pic.
Some of y'all, why is that? Why is it that every time something happens to one of our children by the hands of your children, now all of a sudden we're expected to be PC and walk on eggshells? Fuck you, cracker. Fuck you.
Hey, listen, I can understand the outrage, but we're going to keep it PC over here.
Are you guys hearing these latest updates coming out about Nolan Wells? So allegedly, Nolan did leave the island. And he went back to Wyatt's house for a pool party. And during that pool party, there was an altercation between Wyatt, Nolan, Evan, and somebody else. And apparently they beat Nolan to death with some sort of bar or pole. There are people that are putting out witness statements stating that they were there and they saw Nolan spitting up blood and that these boys urinated on Nolan. They are saying that Evan's mother knew about the whole thing. And allegedly, they took Nolan's body back to the water. They're saying that this is the reason why it pinged on land at that house before they found that phone. This is why that boy told his daddy that Nolan was like a brother to me. Was like a brother to me when he showed up to get his car. It's because they already knew he was gone. Is this the reason why they needed dental records? Because he was unrecognizable? This case is starting to bust wide open. And we all knew that something else happened to Nolan. Now the question is, which of the parents helped those kids? Are you guys hearing these latest updates coming out about?
If you ask me, all of those parents helped those kids. I believe that they have complete town meetings behind the scenes. Everybody whose child was there, better believe a group chat was created. Better believe that a meeting was organized. Better believe a sit down happened with every parent and they got on code. That's why they started deleting social media immediately and they started lawyering up. They knew that something was going to slip out. They knew that they had to come together. I'm telling you. They knew. I'm ready for these arrests to be made. The arrest should have been made when we heard Nolan asking for that phone. There we go. We got him spotted at the beach. We heard the audio say, "Give me my effing phone. What are you doing?" Summary of deleted accounts. Nolan's friends who don't remember everything, all of them deleted accounts. Now, let me put this into perspective. If they're innocent, why did all of them delete their accounts? Now, mind you, the judge, Ashley Nicole, claims that she deleted her accounts because she fears someone harming her innocent small children because of the racial tension on social media. Although she deleted her social media before we even knew Nolan was dead. Now, do all these guys have small children too? Or did they all sit down with the judge? A judge, some of these boys got lawyers as parents. One of these boys got a physician as a parent. These families came together and they said, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to scrub social media. We're going to all get lawyers. Nobody say nothing. Everybody keep a low profile. That's exactly what the mob would do. and also keeping items from the family. Took this young man's phone, took his keys. The mother and father had to pull up to retrieve those items because they were able to search them, where they found Nolan's vehicle as well. Look, the truth is they probably would have found a way to get rid of Nolan's vehicle too. They were going to prolong that until they were done, until they can find a way to erase everything, delete everything from that phone, get rid of it. Now, some would ask, well, Bree, why they didn't just destroy the phone? Well, because they had to make sure that there was nothing posted on social media that can connect them to a crime. That's why. And they had to be thorough with it. It takes time. That's why they didn't immediately just go destroy the phone, because you got clouds, you got emails, you got social media. So what they were doing, from my opinion, from the direction of the judges and lawyers and who else ever who was involved, they were trying to find a way to scrub all evidence. They were trying to be thorough. They were trying to be thorough. But it ended up backfiring because they missed that Life 360 app where the mother pulled up because she was tracking that phone. Give me my phone. What the F are you doing? He sounded like he was in distress. He wanted his phone back. Arrest should have been made then.
By now that we've all seen this viral photo circulating the internet. It's supposedly a picture of Nolan at a pool party at his friend Evan's house, this one right here, after they all left the island the night of July 4th. Now, if you don't know where that photo came from, there was a comment made under a post about Nolan, and it came from this profile, Alasia Spencer. And she is alleging that there was no fight on the island. The fight occurred at the pool party that the kids went to after they left the island, and the pool party was at Evan's house. I'm not going to read it in full detail, but you all can pause and read if you want. But she's basically saying that kids were drunk, kids were high at this party, and an altercation happened, and the group of boys unalived Nolan by beating him. She says that after the fight happened, that she herself seen Nolan on the side of the pool.
What we're going to do is we're going to read what she said, verbatim, because I think it's important, because this is a supposed eyewitness. The supposed eyewitness who commented on their post says, bro, no didn't get into a fight at the island. I guess she calls Nolan no. Bro, no didn't get into a fight at the island. See, the women are telling. It was our other friend, No and Wyatt, did get into an altercation. So now we know which alleged friend he was fighting with. It was Wyatt. He should be the first one arrested. Right after that, not even 10 minutes later, because Wyatt took his phone. So Wyatt is the one who took the phone. This is an eyewitness, an alleged eyewitness. And even was trying to be hard. Nolan was definitely screaming, give me my effing phone back. N-word, what's wrong with you? So they all calmed down so that when we head to the house, because he was throwing a pool party. So yes, No came to the party, and yes, we was drinking. So he's saying everybody was drinking. But Wyatt, even, and Morgan and Andrew was really high. You know what they was high off of, right? They was high off of that. You know what they was high off of, that sugar booger. You know they was in there geeked up and tweaking. You know they was on, somebody called it Peruvian drywall. They was off that Peruvian drywall. And that's probably that weird looking old dude that was at the damn pool party. He was probably the drug dealer. Need to come arrest his weird ass too. But it says, No came to the party, and yes, we was drinking, but Wyatt and Evan and Morgan and Andrew was really high. So all the guys he was with was tooting up. So you start mixing alcohol, You start mixing dope, then demons start manifesting. It says, and they was trying to get Lucy and Natalie to try as well. So guess what? They was trying to push up on the women, and they was trying to get them hired up because they have no sauce, no swag, no none of that. So they was hating on Nolan, trying to get everybody high. Yeah, they was on that mind-altering drug, and this makes sense. This makes sense. Now we're gonna try to read all of it, but she's kind of in the way, so I'm gonna skim through a little bit, and maybe I can pull this post up later or somewhere else. But we're gonna get the gist of what's being said. It says almost 1 a.m. It says, let me see. They tried to get Lucy and Natalie to try as well, but they got into it again at the pool party. It didn't end until almost 1 a.m. I know even Evan's mom kicked us all out when they started fighting. It was Andrew and Wyatt and Warren was basically filming and laughing, saying, get him, get him. See, that's that redneck stuff. Get him, get that boy, get him, get him. See, that white supremacy came out. They drunk and high, and you can hear No screaming, Mom. He was screaming for his mother. She said you can hear Nolan screaming for his mother. Those devils was under extreme possession doing what they was doing to Nolan, bro. It says, I don't know whose mom, somebody's mom came out and made us leave and said she was going to call the cops. It says basically the last thing she seen was Nolan was by the basketball goals, leaning over beside the pool, spitting up blood. Spitting up blood. Now, this is enough right here to at least issue a search warrant. There needs to be DNA analysis done on the boat. They need, and you know, at this point, they waited nearly a week and there's not even search warrants issued. Because if they were really out there 2, 3 in the morning cleaning that boat, then there will be residue. Unless they got some forensic, some people who really know what they're doing, who understand blood splatter and all that to remove it. Let me do this person a favor. Let me block this person. Somebody's being extremely weird up in here. So we're going to do that person a favor and get them the hell on up out of here. Let me see, did it work? Moderators, I'm going to need y'all to do me a favor. If y'all see anybody speaking about any other content creators in my chat that you don't hear me speaking about, do me a favor and please respectfully block them. We're not doing that. People don't come over here to be distracted. Thank you. I appreciate that kindly. Y'all doing a phenomenal job holding it down. But this is a very sad case. Very sad case.
Woo, boy. Let me tell you guys, if this is real, this could change everything with this Nolan Wells case. Now, this right here, this photo right here is a photo that they're saying shows Nolan Wells at a pool party July 4th at night. Technically July 5th at night. Now, if that is true, and this isn't AI, and this is not just some kid who looks a lot like Nolan Wells in a pool party with a bunch of white.
Let's be clear. Ben Crump also posted and verified that the photo is real and that Nolan was at this pool party and that the photo was taken around closer to 1 o'clock on the 5th. All right. So this photo is perhaps moments before Nolan's actual death. To be clear. Let's go.
Kids, this could be a huge situation. And this also shows, and this also proves that what they've been saying, the narrative that has been told by these kids, by his friends, may not be entirely accurate. They're claiming that the photo that we see here, he went to a pool party after going to Horn Island with his friends, and that apparently this photo was taken late at night on July 4th, technically July 5th. And remember, his friends said that he was last seen around 3 p.m. on the 4th of July. That's when he allegedly went off to go talk to some girl and all that stuff. And remember, the girl said that he was going back over to his friends to take that boat back out to the mainland. And apparently, if this photo is correct and real, he took that boat back to the mainland to kick it with his friends. And allegedly, he wasn't cool. Allegedly, he was not cool with all the substances that were being consumed by the kids at this particular party. And then, of course, there is an allegation of an actual altercation that happened at this particular party. Now, again, like I said, we don't know if this is a fugazi, if this is the real deal Holyfield, or if this is fake. But one thing is for sure, an account posted this, all right, and then suddenly now that account has removed this very photo and has privated their account. Why? Again, like I said, is it because somebody just wanted to stir the pot and make some AI slop to get everybody, riled up? Or do they have a missing piece of evidence that could really expose and unearth the truth on what's going on with this case?
That's the reason why I didn't cover it at first, because I had to make sure that the photograph was real. He might have uploaded this video before it's been revealed by Benjamin Crump. So not only is the photo a real photo, there was a so-called eyewitness that actually commented on that photo, and then it was removed afterwards. So I believe there's some intimidation going on. I believe that some people are being threatened, perhaps. And like when it comes to like a cover-up like this, there's going to be a lot of people recanting a lot of what they produce and put out because they're just afraid. Let me see this. All right. And we got this judge also. He's been speaking up, man. That judge in Mississippi. I want you to hear something else he had to say. He brought up some very good points.
Friends were seen on July the 5th, that Sunday, having breakfast together like nothing had happened. They were not out there searching for their so-called friend.
Yeah, and y'all are right. It does look like a ritualistic picture. It looked like something you would see on Epstein Island. And Ben says it looks like a trophy kill photo. They all know what happened to him. It does look like it. It gives you very eerie feel. It gives you an eerie vibe. It gives you a very eerie vibe.
We know that the so-called friends deleted their social media, deactivated their accounts, and scrubbed it clean if the allegations are correct. We know that the young man that had the car at his house did not willingly turn over the keys. At first, he said that he did not have the keys. He didn't know where they were. Then he, after being pressed by the father, he finally turned over the keys. This is all very suspicious activity. We know that based on an audio recording and some video that Nolan Wells can be heard saying, "Give me my freaking keys. Excuse me, give me my freaking phone. And there's been two different versions. Some say he said, give me my freaking phone, or some say he said, give me my ML phone. Regardless, he was asking or demanding his phone. Someone had his phone who did not have permission to have his phone. So the first thing I see, the simplest thing I see, is who had his phone and why, and was that theft of the phone? Sometimes we look at the largest case, we try to get to murder, but the person that took his phone committed a crime right there. There are witnesses to who took that phone. If an affidavit is signed, an arrest warrant could be signed by a judge in Mississippi to go after that person that had that phone unlawfully. We know, based on his own words, Nolan Wells' words while he was alive, he did not give whoever had that phone permission to have that phone. So was that theft? I think if an affidavit is signed, if it was presented to me when I was a judge, I would have signed an arrest warrant for the person for theft of that phone, based on what I've heard. It'd have to be an affidavit format, but if it was presented to me in affidavit format from law enforcement, I would sign the arrest warrant for, at least at this point, theft of the man's phone. We know who had it. We know who didn't report it to the family. The family had to go find it, and we know that Nolan Wells said give it back to him, and evidently it was not given back to him. Why was that? Friends were seen on July the 5th, that Sunday.
Yeah, that makes total sense that they lured him there using his phone, that Nolan wanted to go home a long time ago. Nolan probably didn't even want to go to the pool party, but he just couldn't get his phone back. In fear of being jumped, in fear of whatever they had planned for him, because it definitely is beginning to look premeditated at this point. It really does look premeditated. Like they had this whole ritual set up to do this July 4th, and they carried out their sick, twisted, demented fantasies out, and they got all coked up, all drunk, and they started getting on demon time. And Nolan didn't like everything was going on. He had some type of training camp the next day. And at no point, Nolan was able to call his mother. And that's why the eyewitness says the last thing he heard him yelling was for his mom's. He wanted to call his mom. He wanted his phone back. So what you had was a bunch of druggies, a bunch of bullies. And it could be payback for Carmelo, V-Dub Boogie. It could be. Because July 4th, a lot of demented things took place. You had the Reclaim America thing with the that march down in DC with all those white supremacists. You had lynchings that took place on July 4th, actual lynchings. And for the record, listen, black people don't self-delete and hang themselves from trees. They don't do that. Black people don't get depressed and go find a tree branch to hang off of. Let's be very clear about that, especially in South Carolina, Alabama, and Mississippi. Let's be clear about that. Depression don't hit like that for black people, where they're going to be in the middle of Mississippi, Alabama, or the Carolinas or Texas somewhere and say, you know what, I'm going to find me a tree branch. No. No. It seems like there was some type of dog whistle blown on July 4th. And although the truth is disturbing, the truth is the truth. These people want a race war. Now, of course, we don't want a race war. And to be honest with you, before they can get us all anyway, the Most High is going to intervene. They're going to be destroyed by an unforeseen force. Yeah, we don't do that. Now, I'm not saying that melanated people don't get depressed and self-delete. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is we're not going to pick a tree to hang off of. That ain't going to happen. When you see these situations where somebody hung from a tree, it is exactly what it looks like. It's exactly what it looks like. It's a lynching. The same thing they've been doing for hundreds of years. They're still doing it. Do you know the last school that was desegregated was in 2016? We act like we so far beyond racism in America. Like the American dream has come true and racism is old. The last school to be desegregated was in 2016 in where, ladies and gentlemen? Guess where? Mississippi. In my crooked letter. That was a few damn years ago. Yeah, we can't keep letting these people play in our faces. We know that racism is alive and well in America. Matter of fact, I would argue that it's worse now than it was then because it is the illusion that it doesn't exist. And the illusion is so strong. You got Nolan Wells type of situations where he believes he's accepted by that group of people. Malcolm X said something very key in one of his speeches. He said, the one who can get the lamb chop on a plate is the sheep, is the wolf that's disguised as the sheep. Because if the wolf come as a wolf, the sheep are going to scatter. So you got to look out for the ones that's friendly. That's why people who are conscious have a distrust for certain demographics of people in certain areas. Because they come at you, hey, buddy, you want to come over for parsnips and fondue? And my wife makes a mean green bean casserole. We just left Sunday school. But when you understand history, that right after the Christian nationalists left Sunday school back in the day, they went to a picnic. That's tradition. They went to the Sunday school. Right after church, after praising white Jesus, they went and had a picnic. And guess what they did at that picnic? Picked a Negro, lynched him publicly, made a postcard of it, and they sat there on blankets and they ate. And they celebrated and they shouted with joy while we swung from trees. And they just left church. So what makes racism worse now is that illusion exists where a lot of people fall for the wolves in sheep clothing antic. No, we're not going for that. I don't trust anyone who won't identify Jesus Christ as being black. Once it's proven through history and you refuse to believe the truth of the Bible, once you refuse the true identity of Christ, this is where we part ways. I don't give a damn what color you are. Because the Bible says, he who remember me as the scriptures have read shall have everlasting waters, everlasting life. It's a historical fact that Jesus Christ was black. If you're not going to believe that, I'm preview to believe that you follow the devil. If you could just reject truth, you're an antichrist. I don't want to be around anybody who's antichrist. Because the facts are the facts. Straight up.
Baby, all we gotta do is check the boat launch. Did they launch the boat twice? Where did they launch the boat from? How can we get boat launch video camera or records of a boat launch that went out at night, either on July 4th or 5th? Because that might have been why the body took 2 days to wash up. Because he died on the 4th, The mom got the phone when? Late at night on the 4th? He was already dead somewhere. So on the 5th, they had to go get rid of the body. It must have been way early in the morning, because if they were cleaning a boat at 3 a.m., I'm trying to just think of a timeline, and the boat launch people can give us answers. Was the boat launched twice or once? Baby, all we got to do is check the boat.
Well, that would, for them to check a boat launch, well, actually,
Baby,
there are cameras everywhere. It should be cameras. But I don't think they really be organized keeping a log on these waters the way that they should. I truly don't believe they be on top of things. And by the way, this same lady right here, she exposed the medical examiner, Stacy Turner. Apparently, she has mishandled other cases, which that's why it's a great situation that Ben Crump has, you know, and the legal team of Nolan Wells' family are doing a second autopsy. Because peep this.
Shannon Wilson, a 13-year-old boy. Friends pushed him in the creek in Mississippi. Guess who was the medical examiner who covered it up? Ding, 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 ding. Stacy fucking Turner again. Crump, this is 0 for 3 for Stacy. The brother of this kid just came in my inbox. Stacy Turner told this family that they don't perform autopsies on drowning victims. So this family again had to pay out of pocket, bring their child to a different state for a private autopsy. Stacy Turner, you are public enemy number 1 in my book. Shannon Wilson, a 13-year-old.
And see, this is why I believe it's planned as well, because listen, these little Mississippi towns know where they can get away with murder. Stacy probably been getting paid off for a long time, and there might be a whole lot of brothers and sisters floating in that ocean. A whole lot of them. A whole lot of them, because why? They all plugged in with the medical examiner, and they like, look, if you want to get rid of somebody, we know how to do it. This is how this stuff works. Yep. Because his body was definitely dead way before they threw him in the body, you know. So they, you know, there's no waterlogged body. And I'm so ready. I am so ready for this autopsy to be released. I'm so ready for it, because it's going to be a meteor firestorm that day. I could tell you this now. I'm already seeing a lot of brothers taken to the streets. I see IUIC is out there in Mississippi, and I'm not mad at them for that. They're showing up. They're marching in the streets, and it's needed. And I thought I had some video clips of that. I know I got quite a few inboxes from different people. And man, y'all have been sending me a lot of important documents. A lot of important documents. And it's more I'm going to share with y'all.
Secret Service Sam here with another one. Daniel Irving, another person taken way too soon. 19-year-old Lucas Roper has been arrested and charged with tampering with evidence in connection to his drowning in April at Lake Ray Hubbard. An arrest affidavit states Roper discarded Irving's clothes and cell phone, sound familiar, after he drowned, as well as deleted all digital communication with the victim before the arrest, sound familiar. According to the affidavit, Roper told police he deleted all communication with Irving because, get this, he knew there would be an investigation and he didn't want to get in trouble. Well, guess what, Lucas? When you do terrible things to people, you will get justice and you will get in trouble. It states that after Irving drowned, Roper and a juvenile suspect threw Irving's clothes into the tree line near a bridge above Lake Hubbard. Police also learned 2 suspects fled the scene in Roper's vehicle. As they fled, the juvenile suspect threw Irving's phone out of the vehicle. Roper told police after the trio jumped into the lake from a bridge, Irving drowned. Roper said he panicked and deleted all cell phone communication with Irving from his phone. Why? If something is an accident, then you have nothing to hide. You want proof that that's true, but no. Police later interviewed him, and he told Roper he threw it when fleeing the lake, and so he's been arrested, thankfully. At least in this one, he's been arrested. We need justice. We need justice right now. Justice for Daniel Irving. All right?
So we also got Daniel Irving. Well, it seems like there was an arrest made in that situation, which is great. But it's showing a pattern. We're seeing a pattern here where this is going on. And it happened all on July 4th. Another one drowned in Covington, Alabama. And his name is Dion Walton.
So on the 4th of July, the same day that Nolan Wells disappeared, Dion Walton of Covington, Alabama also drowned in a lake with his friends. It was overshadowed for 2 reasons. One, because of the whole situation with Nolan Wells.
And I believe that the one in Alabama actually had footage. There's actual footage of these guys on the boat saying, hey, swim, boy, swim, swim. And somebody sent me the video. I don't want to play it because it's troubling to the spirit. And, you know, it could be against community guidelines because he actually was unalived in that situation. He was out there on a boat. I believe they threw him over. He couldn't swim. And guess what? They were all laughing. They were all calling him names, and he drowned. He drowned. So it was a ritual being conducted July 4th. This was happening all over the country. A lot of black men missing.
And 2, because his family just kind of accepted the story from the coach and the friends, because the story is that he jumped off the pier with some friends to swim out to an island. They wanted to see who could swim out to the island the fastest. And Dion's not a great swimmer. I guess he started to cramp up and then tried to turn around and swim back to the pier, and he didn't make it. But the coach told his uncles that he himself and the owner of the home, the parent who owned the home, jumped into the pond or into the lake to try to find him, and they couldn't find him. They looked, the kids looked, nobody could find him. Here's where I draw issue with that. If you're swimming in a straight line from the pier to an island and you were to drown, I'm not saying that there's no such thing as undertow, but I am saying you wouldn't get that far that fast that nobody would find you. In my mind, anyway. Might this situation have been actual just accidental drowning? Yes, but due to the history of the South and all of the current events of the South, it's worth questioning. Definitely worth questioning.
Yeah, that might not be the situation where there was a video, but there was one that had a video. Straight up. Let me see. There's people sending all kind of video footage, man, in regards to this situation.
Bro, this shit just keeps getting deeper and deeper. I don't know who Alasia Spencer is. I'm gonna move my face and let y'all see it after. But this paints a whole different picture. This is basically saying that they all went back, Nolan included, to a pool party, and that they was doing drugs at the pool party, and they started seeing Nolan spitting up blood and all kinds of stuff at the pool party, and they were filming and all kinds of stuff, and that's where he died. So then, Did they bring him back out on the boat after that and dump him? But they went all the way back out to Horn Island to dump him? That could be why he was cleaning the boat at 3 a.m. So this presents a whole different theory. That he didn't stay on the island, that he went back and got killed at a party and then got dropped.
I mean, I believe the arrest.
Bro, this shit just keeps getting deep.
The arrests need to be made, y'all. The arrests need to be made. We got Jared Jackson from Chicago found dead near Electric Forest Festival in Michigan. And I mean, listen, it's just too many situations.
So Gerard Jackson is a young man from Illinois, y'all. His death was ruled a suicide, and we know for a fact he did not commit suicide, okay, y'all? He drove from Illinois to a festival, and he went to Michigan. Didn't return home. His family have no answers, and reports are stating that Gerard R. Jackson, right? They say he traveled to the festival with a group of friends after renting a truck and driving everyone from Illinois. Okay, y'all, he had a very nice car that I can see, a very nice vehicle. His family says he was later reported missing while the rest of the group returned home. Doesn't this sound fucking familiar to you guys? And it pisses me off so much because...
Now, we got to think about what is happening right now, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why we talk about who you can trust and who you can't trust. Listen. The Nolan Wells situation, as tragic as it is, what I want you brothers and sisters to understand is this is going on all over the world. These aren't just simple isolated events in society. These are patterns in society now. These are things that you didn't have to worry about 10, 20 years ago, going somewhere with friends and they blood sacrificing you. You going somewhere with friends and they're luring you to your death. Now, of course, a lot of what we've seen on July 4th is Klan initiations, without a doubt. Masonic rituals, without a doubt. But let's be clear. This can happen with everyday people. We've seen that before, too. Remember the young lady who was lured into that freezer, that hotel where they allegedly took her organs out her body. What was her name? I can't remember her name. That was some years ago. But y'all can share her name in the chat. You got Shanquella Robinson, young lady from North Carolina, the hairdresser, business owner. Friends took her to Mexico, did her dirty, left her high and dry. My message is, use your discernment. Pay attention to those you call friends. If you wanted a light, Kanika Jenkins is her name. Yep. Kanika Jenkins. If you are one who bear the light, there's a target. Like the scriptures say, he who departed from sin become a prey. When you start walking that narrow path and getting away from certain people and certain energy, they don't like you to go and get away. It just ain't no telling.
All right, folks, let's take a close look at the murder of Nolan Wells. First of all, this wasn't a murder. This was a premeditated occult sacrifice to start a race war in America. That's what it was. First of all, they found his body at 3:30 a.m. 33, the Masonic 33, just like all the 33s in the Charlie Kirk shooting, just like all the 33s in COVID-19. Why? Because 3-3, turn the 3 sideways. It's MM, which is 44 genocide. Secondly, Nolan Wells. Nolan equals 20, Wells equals 17. That's 37, just like Palantir is 37. Why? Because you turn the 3 around to make it E. So it's E7. So it's 5-7, which is 5G, which is the Mason logo. But more than that, Nolan equals 20, which is 2. Wells equals 17, which is 8, which is 28. Look through my reels. Look through my reels over the past 60 days, how many videos I've done on 28. 2 equals 13, which is 4. 8 equals 31, which is 4, which is 44 genocide. Do you want to know who murdered Nolan Wells? Every single person on that island. Every person that was there is in the occult. They are all in the occult. They are all Masons. It is an occult, premeditated sacrifice to start a race war in America. That's why they keep saying black teen and white boys. So, it's time to expose the occult, people. This was a premeditated occult sacrifice to start a race war in America. So you know what the problem is? I see the problem. You've got a cult. Wake up, people. Wake up. The Freemasons are playing you again, and every single person on that island is responsible for that kid's murder. It's plain and simple, people. The numbers are in there. You can see what happened. They're all judges and attorneys' kids. They're going to cover it all up, right? It's an occult sacrifice to start a race war. Sign, share, promote the Full Disclosure Act. Wear Lethal 22 clothes on the street. And stop being a pussy, man. Expose the occult before you end up dead on a fucking island.
I mean, he's 100% right. It is a occult sacrifice. I've said this from the very beginning. If you look at my first video that I came out with, the first live stream I did when this whole situation started, I called it for exactly what it is. It was a blood sacrifice. And when we did our deep dive, we said everything this man is saying, but he added the numerology. But we put it out there that everybody on that island was complicit. And I still believe that because just how slowly all the evidence is rolling out. It's almost strategic in a way. Like you get a video here, next day, one little other shred of evidence comes out. And it all is all trickling out, but there's no real accountability being had yet. And this is what they do because they're trying to do what? Fuel a race war. We knew that. I mean, we know that. But was the sacrifice real? Absolutely. Yep, Metcalf was number 33 as well. So make no mistake about it, the numbers don't lie. Everything that we see going on in mainstream media, getting national publication, it has an agenda. We would be foolish if we didn't see that. And we know what the agenda is. The agenda is a race war. And I'm going to be a realist and let y'all know that a race war is already here, technically. You know, when you had what was her name? Shiloh Hendricks calling the little black kid an N-word, hurling all kind of obscenities and racial slurs. And they fundraised almost $1 million. What do you think that money was going towards? They were fundraising war. They were crowdfunding war. When Charlie Kirk got popped in his damn head and they set up concerts, Charlie Kirk, listen, they already had Charlie Kirk funeral scheduled before Charlie Kirk was dead. They was out there selling Charlie Kirk merch. Do you know how much money that organization Charlie Kirk ran? I don't even remember the name of the damn organization now. It was everywhere. You know how much money they raised? Crowdfunded war. Yeah, that's backdoor financing. What you think they've been what do you think they've been funding, ladies and gentlemen? You got the missing soldier in Fort Bragg. Yep. What you think these devils been fundraising? Chad the Builder fundraised wars. He was a crash out dummy. An antagonist. Daniel Penny, same thing. Why else would they do? Why Turning Point? You know how much money Turning Point USA raised millions and they might have raised $1 billion after Charlie Kirk got popped. That's the reason why we got Patriot Front, Reclaim America website, where they're recruiting soldiers. They're literally they're publicly recruiting soldiers for a race war. So when we say a race war is coming, no, there's already a race war. It's already a race war. When you see large amount of money, funds being transferred, and we don't know what's becoming of those funds, that's war. War is fought with money. War is fought with resources. War is not always bullets and bulletproof vests, and that's not how wars are always fought. So we can literally say we're in the middle of a race war. When these white supremacists was using AI to, denigrate our people and demoralize us, that was war. Now, will a war get physical? Well, the war's already gotten physical. You got our people getting kidnapped, held hostage, lynched, drowned. You got our people being put in. You got our people getting their organs harvested. Yeah, so war is definitely already happening. Do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen. We have a troll in the chat that has been spamming my chat, just repeating the same thing over and over again. I have quite a few moderators. I think it's 3 or 4 moderators present. I know y'all working hard. Of course, we're going to have weirdos and freaks show up in the chat. Anybody spamming, repeating themselves, posting the same thing over and over, you have to delete them immediately. Block them. That's a repeat account, a bot. Just get rid of it. But it's definitely a blood sacrifice ritual to do what? Fuel a race war.
There was an alleged argument, and people say that was over things about he was being very clear to not have anything to do with anything that might get in his system, because he knew he had his big workout coming on Monday. And so that's why they're like, just not accepting any of this, Don. They are not accepting that their son just died by coincidence or accident.
Ben, do we know what that argument was? Do we know specifically if it was Nolan and people with him?
Well, we have an investigator talking to some of their friends, and we're gathering information. And when we get that information, we will share it because we want to be transparent. We don't want to speculate, but we want to investigate. And that's very critical here. That's why, Don Lemon, we are having an independent autopsy done on top of whatever autopsy was done by the state of Mississippi. We're going to have him flown to a medical examiner in Washington, D.C., where his body will be preserved to do an autopsy to study every aspect of if he had any physical injuries to his body beyond drowning.
Mm-hmm.
There was an alleged argument.
I honestly feel like we should already have information regarding that autopsy. I know that there was some delays with flights, but it is taking a long time to release that information. It's already been over a week since Nolan has passed. So I find that extremely strange that nothing has been released as of yet. I find that extremely strange. Seriously. It's taken a long time to get anything released. And honestly, I believe they knew immediately, would know that it was murder. Immediately. Without question.
They didn't just drown him. They beat him at that pool party with a bar, with the pole, whatever they could grab. Whatever they could grab. They beat him till he was spitting up blood, y'all. Till he couldn't even breathe. Till he was dead. And then these same friends who watched it all happen, who probably helped it happen, let me tell you, they put his body on a boat, drove him across Mississippi Sound, and dumped him back in the water like he was trash they needed to hide. That's not drowning. That's lynching. In 2026, in Mississippi, and the only reason we know is because somebody took a picture. Benjamin Crump post. They didn't just drown him. They beat him at that pool party with a bar, with the pole, whatever they could grab.
Yeah, that picture is interesting. It's almost like they wanted that picture to be out purposely. Just the angle of it, the way it looks. You know, these people are proud of their work. They are proud of their work. Telling you right now, there's going to be some consequences coming down the turnpike, but I could tell you this now, you got to be careful who you trust. You got to be careful who you bring around you, man, and who you call a friend. And like I said before, I don't think it's completely about race in every situation, but you got to definitely be around your own, man. Now, this is something interesting as well. I want to share this with y'all. Shout out to IUIC.
Howdy, 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 hey! God's kingdom's on the way. God's kingdom's on the way. Hallelujah. 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 Hey, hey, know the way. Hey, hey, know the way. Hey, hey, Nolan Wells. Hey, hey, Nolan Wells.
And you know, this is a good thing because, you know, if you're going to show your presence, these are the things you want to show your presence for. Let these people know that we're not going to forget about Nolan and we're going to keep on pushing for justice. So, you know, me joining the camps and that ain't my thing, but I see what their position is and what their role in all this is.
I think that those boys knew the mom was looking for the phone. They dipped out of that party. They went and dropped the boat at the judge's house with the body in it. They went back to the other house to give the mom's sister or whatever the phone. Then they went back to go and drop the boat off. In the interim, they called the Coast Guard to try to cover their tracks. That makes sense. I think that those boys knew the mom was looking for the phone. They
need to go ahead and debar that judge immediately. Judge Ashley Cole needs to go.
So Judge Ashley Cole spoke out again. The mother of one of the boys that were with Nolan Xavier Wells during the day of his passing. We have decided we will not be speaking to the press at this time. The media is not the appropriate forum to further elaborate on the facts of July 4th. We realize that the truth will not stop the calls for the death of our small children. We have not had the opportunity to speak to the Wells Woolsey family or their attorney. However, we are willing to directly communicate with the attorney Ben Crump and the Wells Woolsey family. We will provide them with all the information known to us so their family can rest and properly mourn. We also want to know what happened to Nolan. We will do everything within our power to assist Nolan's family in their quest for answers. So these were your longtime friends? These were your longtime friends. Y'all grew up, your children grew up together, all these things, and you have not spoke to this family at all? Really? I'm sure it's because Ashley's job is in danger as a judge, right? I'm sure Ashley right now is setting herself up to center herself and distance herself from any legal problems with this case. Because if it comes out that her kid had anything to do with it, she can properly distance herself and cop a plea deal for her kid.
Man, Ashley Cole is just nervous because she know her kid is guilty. And it's evident that she's trying to garner sympathy, acting as if somebody's going to come after her small children. She already deactivated her social media. She's going to reactivate it to make another statement because they're nervous. They see all this star power getting involved. They see how much effort and energy the YouTubers are putting across. The investigative journalists are doing their job. The Wells family are not playing no games. They're trying to get justice. They're raising a substantial amount of money and resources to go towards this case, and they are nervous. You already deleted your social media. Why come back to Facebook to try to do more damage control? The damage is done, and they are petrified. It's evident they're petrified, trying to spin a narrative. We're not going for that.
There are rumors out there that Christine Wansley has saw Nolan's body, and that is a lie. Y'all got to stop lying on this family. They're going through too much shit. According to Ben Crump, Nolan Wells' mother has not seen or identified her son's body. There was an autopsy that was performed Tuesday in Mississippi, but now his body is being shipped to Washington, D.C. for an independent autopsy. And this is the reason why.
It's an alleged argument, and people say that was over things about he was being very clear to not have anything to do with anything that might get in his system, because he knew he had his big workout coming on Monday. And so that's why they're like, just not accepting any of this.
Yes, you heard right. According to Ben Crump, Nolan did not drink. His family said he was avoiding substances because he had a workout on Monday. Ben Crump also made this statement.
Confidence or perhaps concern about the investigation so far?
Well, the fact that they continue to tell the family that we don't see any evidence of any foul play, even though you have students who recorded an altercation while they were on the boat's argument where you had Nolan and somebody yelling at one another on the boat. So that's an issue. And then you have the young lady make a statement, and she said, well, Nolan and I finished talking, and Nolan said he was going back to the boat. And then the boys on the boat said, no, Nolan told them he was going to stay with her. And so they are conflicting. She said he went got on the boat. They saying he didn't get on the boat. So which is it? And all we know is Nolan is dead.
So just like I asked yesterday, who was Nolan last seen with? Now y'all know two things. According to Nolan Wells' parents, he didn't drink. On top of that, there's conflicting stories with the friends and that girl, Katie. That's when Akeem Genson put this up here. He was the first person to speak to Nolan's parents and dropped the information that Nolan had been identified. He made it clear that the coroner report was going to say that there was no foul play, and that it was an accidental drowning. And then, of course, Jackson County Sheriff Office announced that they did not discover any evidence of foul play on Nolan's unaliving, but they still had not gotten the autopsy. So I'm hoping the autopsy that's done by Ben Crump in Washington, D.C. comes out with better findings than the one we'll get from Jackson County. There are rumors out there that Christine Wansley has saw Nolan's body.
Yeah, I mean, they're lying about everything, and it's a shame that they haven't even seen their son's body yet. Somebody says, why is the speech so fast? That's how she uploaded it. But imagine you don't even get a chance to view your child's body. They're hiding something. I thought that was pretty much customary. I thought as soon as your child or any loved one for that matter who can identify the body is called immediately to identify the body. Why didn't that happen? That's why they had to go get lawyered up. They were being denied basic civil rights. And I'm pretty sure they told Ben Crump that, like, but did you get to view the body? No, they told us that we couldn't view the body. I'm telling you something. Yeah, that's mandatory, right? I mean, it's just too much collusion involved. Let me see. Somebody said it would be something if the fight happened because he refused to drink and their plan failed. Right. Perhaps they were going to poison him. Or these Idumean, Viking, satanic Nephilim seed warlocks probably just got geeked out of their damn mind off of cocaine and alcohol, and they just, all their jealousy and envy and all their demons just came out. Straight up.
This man right here identifies himself as Nolan's best friend. He said Nolan's death had nothing to do with race, and it's distracting people from the facts that's being uncovered. He said, I agree that parts of the investigation don't add up.
But I don't know if this music is copywritten or not, but I'm just going to chime in on what was said by Nolan's best friend. alleged best friend. Look, that little boy was scared. TMZ took full advantage. I think TMZ might have paid him for that interview. That little boy was scared. He didn't necessarily say it wasn't about race, but he was scared to say what it was. Obviously, in that town, you got to be careful what the hell you say. Obviously, it would have done Nolan more justice if his so-called best friend wouldn't have said nothing at all. If he said nothing at all. That's my take on that, because a lot of people inbox me about the Friends interview. Yeah, somebody said, well, Nolan's friend is a child. His frontal vortex isn't even completely developed yet. That part. And the way he was talking, he was all confused. He don't know no better. He didn't know what the hell he was talking about, honestly. So we're not even going to pay that interview no mind. We're not going to pay that no mind. Now, I could tell you this right now. They did it. The lid is about to be blown off of this thing. It's going to get real. You know, of course, you got Mississippi, Ocean Spring, claiming that, the detective said there was no evidence of a crime. Remember everything that the detective said. When it's all come out, mark my words, they're going to try to spin some stuff. They haven't given up yet on this cover up. They're going to try to prolong some things, hoping that the media kind of falls back. But the media is not going nowhere right regarding this Nolan Wells case. They're not going nowhere. So I want you to remember the Ocean Springs detective that said there was no evidence of a crime being committed in Nolan's death. I want y'all to remember that. Because that was the reason why Benjamin Crump was retained. Because they wanted answers. So initially, that's what the family was told. Your son is missing. We found his body, but we have no reason, no suspicion that a crime was committed. Now, I want everybody to remember that, because everybody needs to be held accountable. The detective needs to be arrested. The one who did the primary autopsy, arrested. The family of all the alleged friends, all arrested. Wyatt specifically needs to be arrested first. The rest of the friends who were complicit, who hid evidence, hid his phone, hid his car keys, arrested. Everyone who was at the pool party. I will go as far as to say everyone who was on that beach needs to be brought into question and investigated. The whole head is corrupted. Like the guy said in the video, and we might have to play that video back one more time, when he said exactly what this is, a Freemasonic ritual. I might have to run that video back one time when the guy said it was a Freemasonic ritual and everybody there is a Mason. Everybody involved knew what happened. That is a powerful statement, and I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
All right, folks, let's take a close look at the murder of Nolan Wells. First of all, this wasn't a murder. This was a premeditated occult sacrifice to start a race war in America. That's what it was. First of all, they found his body at 3:30 a.m. 33, the Masonic 33, just like all the 33s in the Charlie Kirk shooting, just like all the 33s in COVID-19. Why? Because 3-3, turn the 3 sideways. It's MM, which is 44, genocide. Secondly, Nolan Wells. Nolan equals 20, Wells equals 17. That's 37, just like Palantir is 37. Why? Because you turn the 3 around to make it E. So it's E7. So it's 57, which is 5G, which is the Mason logo. But more than that, Nolan equals 20, which is 2. Wells equals 17, which is 8, which is 28. Look through my reels. Look through my reels over the past 60 days, how many videos I've done on 28. 2 equals 13, which is 4. 8 equals 31, which is 4, which is 44 genocide. Do you want to know who murdered Nolan Wells? Every single person on that island. Every person that was there is in the occult. They are all in the occult. They are all Masons. It is an occult, premeditated sacrifice to start a race war in America. That's why they keep saying black teen and white boys. So, it's time to expose the occult, people. This was a premeditated occult sacrifice to start a race war in America. So you know what the problem is? I see the problem. You've got a cult. Wake up, people. Wake up. The Freemasons are playing you again, and every single person on that island is responsible for that kid's murder. It's plain and simple, people. The numbers are in there. You can see what happened. They're all judges and attorneys' kids. They're going to cover it all up, right? It's an occult sacrifice to start a race war. Sign, share, promote the Full Disclosure Act. Wear Lethal 22 clothes on the street. And stop being a pussy, man. Expose the occult before you end up dead on a fucking island. Peace.
And, man, that's what it is. An occult ritual. And that's what we do. We expose the cult on this side as well. And Blessed Without the Mess, she said it, she posted an interesting question / comment, and I want to address it. She says, what if none of this is effing real? The media is just pushing an agenda that they have unsuccessfully pushed in the past. Well, I want to speak to that, because what we got to understand is the sacrifice is always real, and it's always an unsuspected victim. Is there an agenda behind it? Absolutely. Is everything we see in the media true? Absolutely not. And when you look at what the media likes to spin, the reason why it's unsuccessful, the narratives they're pushed, because you have thinking people like myself and others. You have thinking people who can logically decipher what's going on, use deductive reasoning skills, and call the media out. So, are these things coordinated? Yes. Are they premeditated and planned? Yes. Are they real? People really dying. People are really dying. See, you got to understand, we are in a matrix, and every action has a reaction. And these devils are playing 3D chess, so they believe in problem, reaction, and solution. So is it real? Yes, it's real. Is the media pushing agendas? Yes, they are. Do they lie? Yes, they do. So you have to be able to decipher what's real and what's not, because they're full of deception. So that's what's going on. It's not that none of it didn't happen. It ain't like they just found a studio and they came up with this whole plan. No, listen, in Satan's kingdom, in the kingdom of darkness, they have to have a sacrifice. People really have to be unalived. The grief, the bloodletting, the blood has to hit the soil. The ritual has to be conducted, because through the ritual, that's when a media firestorm can be conducted. Through the ritual, that's when the real intensity and emotions and things come behind the screenplay that they're going to write out for you. So yes, there's a lot of fake stuff out there to try to promote and push the race war. However, the sacrifice is always real in any agenda. Every time you see one of these celebrities die, get sacrificed, is real. They really are dying. The death is true. The rituals are real. The initiations are real. It's just what proceeds afterwards is what great minds have to decipher. And this is probably why you gravitated to this platform and others, because you're trying to get answers, which is great, because that means you're thinking like, yo, what's really happening? What's really happening? There's a lot of corruption. That's why they did this on Horn Island. The devils are showing their horns. This is exactly why. Make no mistake about it.
Breaking news. Nolan Wells' body was found by a park ranger on his standard Monday morning rounds. The ranger said the body appeared that it just washed up on shore and the body was not waterlogged, which means forensics point out that there was no fluid in his lungs, which means he likely didn't drown, and it's indicative of his body being deceased before he was placed in the water. Why is this not going viral?
See, and this is before this came out. Let me see. When did this was 5 days ago. This post right here from What She Said Sports posted this 5 days ago. And this is before the photos came out of Nolan at the pool party. So this is valid evidence right here that it was already distinguished that the body was not waterlogged. Come on now. Nolan died on land, y'all. Nolan didn't drown. Nolan Wells did not drown, y'all. He couldn't have.
Because it explains why the friend group has lawyered up and made all of their accounts private. And even with this information, a sheriff insists that there's no foul play. It was a drowning accident. However, he was deceased before his body was placed in the water, and there were already reports that Nolan Wells' body was beaten and bruised. It is also known and documented that there was intense physical fight. Nolan's friend group was fighting him, and the fight moved from the beach to the boat, and the boat sped away. And this was all in the 4 to 5 o'clock time frame. And when the boat returned and docked and continued to party and was seen partying at 7:30 with the same friend group minus Nolan, who was nowhere in sight, and they acted as if nothing happened. Nolan Wells was only identifiable via dental records and DNA, which meant his body, clearly his face, was so badly maligned that they didn't know it was him. You don't need dental records for somebody that supposedly drowned but was not waterlogged 24 to 36 hours ago. The cover-up seems to be in place. It's time for all of the videos from all of the people on the boats who watched Nolan be beaten. And there is one post on social media that says, "Nolan fought back. I promise you he did." This is awful. And it's eerily similar to what happened to Carmelo Anthony. And had he not been able to defend himself, he likely wouldn't have survived as well, because a mob attacked him while he was isolated. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports.
That's what them cowardly devils do. They attack you when you isolated from everybody else. That's when they start getting some gall and some testicular fortitude. When they got their group, their gang of devils and demons, and you by yourself. That's when they like to attack. And I can tell you this right now. If Nolan would have had his knife like Carmelo Anthony, it may be a whole different battle going on. It may be a whole different battle going on, y'all. If Nolan had his knife, it'd be a whole court battle for his freedom. Now, this doesn't add up with the pool party, but what she was doing, the person who just posted this, What She Said Sports, was speculating to a degree because she was trying to make sense out of why the body wasn't waterlogged. See, this happened 5 days ago. Now it makes sense why the body wasn't waterlogged. Now it makes sense why they were spotted 3 a.m. actually cleaning the boat. Now it makes sense. Even the timing, the only thing that doesn't make sense is the timing where the Coast Guard said they found the body, which means they would be lying. Old School Rules, thank you for the support. She said, Nubreed, always 10 steps ahead. All praises to the Most High. All praises. because for everybody who's been watching my coverage on this, we've been ahead of the curve. Everything we said it before Ben Crump said it, except for things that were speculatory. But from the very beginning of this case, we've been on it. We've been leaving no stone unturned. And I thank the Most High for that. Because hopefully, you know, our contributions help the family out. Because I heard Nolan's mother say she would hope that any family would go fundraise and do what they got to do. Because you had certain people in these spaces trying to discourage the family for actually fundraising to get answers. And I hope that my words actually helped that family to know that they're doing the right thing. They may need millions of dollars to uncover this level of treachery, this level of collusion. I mean, you're going against a whole machine, including the media. They're trying to hide this. You think these Proud Boys want this put out there, their ugly, true nature to be broadcasted the way it is? No, they don't. They like to operate under the cloak of maliciousness. They do like to carry out their rituals, but they don't like the public holding them accountable for what they've done. They don't like that. And now it's all coming out to the light. And y'all remember this devil right here. He told their true colors. And I'm going to tell you, this is how they really get down.
Yeah, you got that right. Yeah, we did it. We sure did do it. What you think? What you think we do when we take y'all young men camping with us? We know them boys don't know how to swim. Yeah. You throw them in that water.
And we know Nolan didn't drown. And Nolan did know how to swim. But I just want you to see the mindset of these Edomites.
They say, swim, boy, swim. Whoa, learn how to swim, boy. You can't do it. You can't do it, boy. Y'all ain't ever going to learn how to swim.
Now, I want you to keep in mind, there was a lot of drownings that took place on July 4th. There was a whole lot of them.
Yeah, they did it. Them boys did it. This is a damn tradition for us. Yeah, this is a tradition. We take you boys out in the woods, and we throw you in the swamp. We throw you in the creek.
Now, notice he said this is a tradition for us. I tried to tell y'all, this is what they do. This is called white boy summer. Summertime come around. These are their extracurricular activities right here.
We throw you in them springs and rivers. Yeah, we throw you in them oceans. Y'all can't do a damn thing. Y'all be in there splashing and screaming, I can't swim, I can't swim. Oh, hell no. But you know, it ain't our fault. It ain't our fault you're fucking stupid. Grown man don't know how to swim. Yeah, what y'all think we do? You know, yeah, it's a big conspiracy. You know, every 6 months this skin tone, we all get together in our neighborhoods and we have like a little neighborhood meeting. Y'all ain't invited. We get together, we make plans, we talk about y'all,
Notice he said every 6 months. He said every 6 months we have plans. We sit in our neighborhoods and we talk about y'all. They've been doing this.
Oh, yeah, let's put this one in football, you know, let's put this one in basketball. Yeah, let's encourage him to do that and this. Yeah. We bet on y'all. Man, we just play y'all like a damn game and y'all don't even know it. This is a tradition. Been going on since the beginning of time. And y'all still in the dark. And you know, I thought I'd go ahead and tell you, but even me telling you, it's still just going to be conspiracy and nobody's going to be able to prove it. Yeah, this happens all around the nation. All of us are involved. Every single one of us. Yep. Yeah, you got that.
And a lot of people think he just rage baiting and trolling. Hell no, that's how they really get down. Sitting there making plans for all the black folks that move into their community. And they've been doing this. This is one show, man. What is the name of that show? They actually showed that behavior from them. Oh, man, it was this crazy show that came out where the dude was dressed like a clown. And the clown was like his alter ego. The black guy, he crashed out at the end. It was a series that came on. I want to say it came on FX. And it showed you how they really be having these meetings about black folks in the community, how they going to troll them or, you know, get them to turn on each other or whatever. You're telling the truth, man. They're Masonic. And of course, this is low-hanging fruit right here. This Buzz Lightyear, Winnie the Pooh looking ass, staple mustache, Velcro mustache, Buzz Lightyear looking weirdo. He's low-hanging fruit. We know this dude right here is low-hanging fruit. We're not worried about him. But we know that it's true. He's not lying. And see, I believe that in this day and age, white supremacy showing its horns is actually good for us as a whole. I do. I believe it is good for us as a whole because we get to see the devil for who they are. Yeah, this old buck-tooth inbred, we're not worried about him. Man looked like Winnie the Pooh, like he just sit there with a like he just sit there with a honey pot, giggling and sniggling. We're not worried about him. A little goofy. Yeah, he looked just like Chud the Builder, don't he? Y'all notice these Chud the Builder type, they all got these damn scratch and sniff ass mustaches. The Mario Luigi mustache, like what is that? Anyway, that's trash. But the point I'm making is, man, don't think that these people are telling jokes. That's why when you enroll your children in school this year, when school come back around, you know, sit down with the teachers. If you got your children enrolled in predominantly white schools, it's time to pull them out. I'm just gonna call it like it is. You can feel how you want to feel. I gotta say this stuff because this is just the time we in. Pull your kids out of them schools and get them around their own people. Yeah, he looked like a Toy Story character. I just feel like at this point, if Nolan Wells, Carmelo Anthony, and a host of other brothers who lost their lives, if they just was in the hood, not even in the hood, just a public school that's predominantly black, they'll be alive. I am from the DMV area, Washington, D.C. area. All my high schools, middle school, elementary school were predominantly black schools. And we had our problems. Damn it, we had our problems. Half the time, we didn't have the textbooks we needed. Our classrooms didn't have all the nice gadgets and gadgets everybody else had. But you know what? We wasn't luring each other in. We wasn't luring each other into the woods to blood sacrifice each other. We just wasn't doing that. Yeah, dude out here with the Captain Crunch mustache. All these new age white supremacists looking like the Pringles man. It's 2026 and they running around looking like the Pringles man. And you had all these white supremacists standing behind Trump looking like Texas Pete off the damn hot sauce bottle. In 2026. Like, these people are weird, bro. They really stuck in 1776. You just can't make this stuff up.
We have an important update concerning the horrific, tragic case of Nolan Wells. And truthfully, not enough people, and especially not enough mainstream outlets, are regularly talking about Nolan, so we need to get this out. Nolan, as you may know, is an 18-year-old man who was found dead after going missing over 4th of July weekend in Mississippi. The circumstances around his death right now are unclear and under investigation. His family is demanding a full and transparent investigation. The family retained recently Benjamin Crump, a civil rights lawyer, and in a statement they are demanding a, quote, thorough and independent investigation into how Nolan died.
Man, I mean, I ain't even gonna lie, man. Y'all are in my comment section roasting old boy. Somebody said he looked like the Monopoly man. Man, I'll tell you, that's what we do. This is a foundational Black American thing. If you wonder why we can jump on these serious topics and then we just start cooking people, it's just in our DNA to do that. Somebody said he looked like Chippendale and the Rescue Rangers. Come on, bro. Not old boy right here, but the last video we played. Yep. Somebody said Prince George's County was cool, a cool place I live. Yep. I went to Forestville High School in Prince George's County right before it became a military academy. I went to Largo High School. I went to everywhere, bro. I went to like every high school. I'm not even going to talk about me because, bro, I was just a troubled youth. I kept getting put out of school for fighting. So every year I got suspended, expelled. I was going back and front. I went to Cardozo for a little bit. I went to Suitland High School for a little bit. That was just my upbringing. I was a hood hopping, bad trouble kid, always in some fights, always in trouble, always getting put out of school, or just skipping school so much that they just put me out. You know what I mean? That's just how it was. But I went to like 5 high schools, bro. But I ended up getting my diploma and stuff from Job Corps and the Job Corps in Baltimore. Yeah, but man, nonetheless, it was still better than growing. I couldn't imagine growing up. I couldn't imagine growing up in a predominantly white school. I'm just gonna be honest. I couldn't imagine doing it. Yeah, they said old boy was looking like Wario. Y'all wild, man. I mean, you know, we got our updates on this case, man. It's a sad situation. I'm gonna chop it up with y'all. Somebody said they went to Beaumont High School. Man, shout out to everybody in PG County. And that's the thing. PG County was one of the richest Black counties. One of the richest Black counties. They try to make it seem like everywhere Black people live is just a damn rendered hood. Oh, somebody said they went to Gwynn Park High School. I think the high school I liked the least was when I went to Largo High School. Largo High School was like a fashion show, bro. And I just didn't have all of that. You know, I wasn't all fly and all of that. I was a black tee type wearing dude. In there, they were very vain when I went to Largo. But all the other high schools I went to, they was kind of street. But I got in a lot of trouble in Largo because I didn't play all that joning stuff and cracking jokes. If you cracked a joke with me, I was cracking your jaw. You understand? I wasn't the playful type. Like, you know, when people get to joking on each other. Nah, I took it serious. I took everything serious at 16, 17. That's why I can't be mad at Carmelo Anthony. Frontal cortex not even developed. You got these boys surrounding you, ready to jump on you. When you young, you gonna make a move. Your adrenaline is running, your testosterone is way up through the roof. You just not going for that. Yep. Somebody said I visited DMV. I visited DMV and saw Oprah at a media conference. I won't tell you which movie I saw because I'm gonna be telling my age. Yep. Yeah, born and raised, man. My mom, she went to Friendly High School with Martin Lawrence. They're in the yearbook. You know what I'm saying? My mom was like literally in the same grade. She was in a lot of the same classes as Martin Lawrence. You know, there's a lot of people, man. We knew Genuine's son. You know, Genuine's son went to school with us. He was a little younger. I believe Genuine's son was a little younger than us. But he went to a public school, believe it or not. Genuine's son didn't go to private school. You know, that's stuff that people don't know. Like, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, somebody said once you getting jumped, that knife might come out. Real talk. That's real talk. That's why I'm like, I wish Carmelo would have got another chance. You know, it'd be a lot of people very hypocritical. They did things they wasn't proud of when they were teenagers. I know some cats who openly admitted doing things that they wasn't proud of, but they'll judge Carmelo Anthony with extreme prejudice. But they were doing worse. Like, you know, sometimes these children, they need a chance at life, bro. Sometimes they need a chance at life. Somebody says, I live in California and Ray J had the nerve to try to push up on me. I'm like, you too young, bruh. Yeah, that's crazy. Ray J got a lot going on with him. We ain't gonna talk about Ray J. Ray J be out here. He be really on some rainbow type of behavior, some real zesty behavior out here in these streets. Yeah, you know, you got to be ready out here. It's not about going to look for trouble or start anything or anything like that. Everybody make mistakes, man. You know, I definitely don't believe Carmelo Anthony should have been charged 30. He shouldn't have been charged with murder at all. You know, he got railroaded. But you know, what's done is done, and that's just one of them situations. There's a lot of real ones that got railroaded in the system. And they did their time and they came out. Some of them got out in half of the time. And then they get out and then they live a full life. Let's just hope Carmelo is one of those people just pull through. We're not gonna wish bad on a young brother. We're gonna wish good on him. We hope he get out. You know, we hope he stays strong in there. You know, he get out and do what he gotta do and live his life, have a family one day. You know, there's a lot of cats that went in early, got out in their 30s, and they ended up all right, bro. Life ain't over. Life ain't over. He's doing a time. Maybe he get off on good behavior. It is what it is. It's a learning experience. Yeah, I believe Carmelo's attorney set him up too, but he is appealing. And we're going to keep a look on that. Matter of fact, speaking of the Carmelo Anthony case, man, I wanted to share with y'all some stuff came out about them McCaff boys. And I had to go ahead and fact check this because I'm not going to put out nothing that's false. I had to fact check this. But them Austin McCaff and his brother, they on the docket are doing some racist, of having some racist stuff going on. Because, I mean, it was rumored that they was bullies and doing and having involvements with racism. But now that Carmelo already up in there, it's coming out. Peep this.
Well. What's done in the dark will always come to light, and the truth shall set you free. So, the lawyer who was hired for Carmelo Anthony affidavit has just been released all over the internet. And there's so much mess within this affidavit about these two. Within that mess, I'm talking about racism and about them being bullies. So all that mess that was circling around before all these papers was released about them being bullies and racist, it was all true. According to this affidavit, on page 193, the teens was arrested for racist graffiti. Racist graffiti, which means not only did they have previous actions dealing with racism, but their approach to Carmelo could have proved it was based on racism. And I know y'all wondering.
Yeah, the affidavit is out there. I had to fact check that, and they do have an affidavit. They do have an arrest record for putting out racist graffiti, spreading hate.
But why wasn't this presented in court? Well, Mr. Mike Howard made a sworn written statement agreement, which is an affidavit, to say that he won't bring this up, that he would keep the court case in good sense. Same thing they did with Rick Chow, the Asian guy who unalived 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack Belton. The court didn't allow them to bring up his previous behavior, his previous cases. So the jury was unaware of their behavior. Same with the Metcalf twins. And there's nobody to blame up in this case but Mike Howard, because he allowed them to persuade that he wasn't going to use this evidence to help his client win his case. I'm sure if it wasn't going to make a difference or not, because the jury was all white. They pretty much had their mind made up from the start of it. Just to leave all of this evidence out is shady fucking business. And it proves that Carmelo Anthony was cooked from the moment he assigned that lawyer. And this is why we need a retrial and a reevaluation of this case so this shit can be thrown out. Because with this much evidence and dirt, there's no fucking way Carmelo should have lost that case and sentenced to 35 years in prison. This was nothing more but than a big payday and a scam from Mike Howard. Well,
straight up, what's done in the dark comes to the light. Yep. The lawyer signed an affidavit not to bring out some information that needed to come out. But guess what? If he had a black lawyer, I believe that information would have been out. So he got railroaded, man. Very, very, very wicked how they did Carmelo, man. But nonetheless, we already know the corruption is real. And we know what it is. So I'm going to say this in closing. They did it. They did it. And things are about to get real this week. I want everybody to stay locked into the channel. Y'all know I'm going to be giving y'all updates. I'm going to be giving y'all motivational talks every day this week. The uploads are going to be flowing. So turn your post notification bell on. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. You can support the work via Cashapp. Nubreed Global Truth is the Cashapp. Your contributions are appreciated. If you would like to get your natural products, soaps, health products, etc., HebrewCare.com. And I just want to thank everybody for joining. It's always an honor to build with people who are like-minded, people who are enthusiastic about truth, and people who can actually see what's going on in the world. It's always an honor and a blessing building with y'all. Till next time, I want to say blessings to all. Stay safe out there. Shalom.